Hey everyone. Today we have with us Amit. Amit is an experienced data scientist. He has a lot of experience working with data and has worked with numerous companies in the past. He currently works with Accenture and is a data products lead. Amit, do you want to quickly introduce yourself to the audience? And we're super excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Naveen, for having me here. So like Naveen mentioned that I work with Accenture as a data products lead. I have a total of 16 years of work experience in this industry. I did my engineering from Delhi University. Post that, I was a software developer for a few years. Then I moved into data analytics and data consulting industry. Post 10 years of work experience, I mean, I have always had an inkling for learning. So I just took a break from the corporate world. I went to Indian School of Business, did my MBA back in 2018-19. Post that, I've been largely in product management roles. I've headed product teams in a B2B SaaS firms. Have always been inclined towards data. So now, right now, working with Accenture as data products lead. Happy with the aspect.
Yes. Yeah. I think there are so many things to unpack there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going back, I guess to your time at Netaji Subhas Institute of Technology, I guess what project or what kind of experience, first I guess ignited your passion for just data science, and then more so like AI and ML, because I know that's what you're doing now.
Okay. So, I mean, at that time, back in, so I was doing my engineering in 2003, 4. I mean, that span. So at that time, I believe that it was not that there was not a lot of hype around AI/ML. But during my last year, I did a project, and I was doing my engineering in instrumentation and control. I did my final year thesis on a project where we were trying to control the levels of oil in refineries uh,
Yes.
through digital mediums. So these are called SCADA systems, supervisory control and data acquisition systems. So
Yeah.
we use an algorithm called particle swarm optimization. So it's an AI algorithm. It's also akin to neural networks, the way we see it today, like genetic
Okay.
algorithms, which try to mimic human brain. So neural networks tend to mimic human brain. Particle swarm optimization, they tend to mimic the formation of you always observe that birds move in a particular formation, like ants move in a particular formation, right? They're always
Yes.
synchronized, right? So
Yes.
those algorithms try to mimic that kind of a communication between ants, birds. How do they make those formations? So those algorithms are inspired by those natural phenomena. So I used those algorithms and I found that very interesting. That kind of ignited my interest. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I think that definitely sounds interesting. I guess back when you were like doing engineering, like what is like the perspective on AI ML or like even just data science, and what's like the perspective now? I guess because like it's been like almost I guess 20 years now. So
Yeah. I think there's a huge shift now. I mean, uh, I think the major things which have changed is the enabling part of AI/ML, right? So now the bandwidth, speed, the internet, the computational power which is available to be able to run those heavy models, it has become far more feasible to deploy AI and ML at scale. At that
yeah,
point of time, we were still working on personal computing. Our RAM was like 256 MB RAM. I,
yeah,
I had a computer at that time with
yeah,
256 MB RAM, and now I mean there's a sea of difference, right? But
yeah,
at that time the field was evolving. I mean the theoretical concepts were there. I mean AI, if you see, the term was first coined in 1956, and the
Mhm.
objective was to mimic human brain. But then the field has did not pick up in the next 50 years simply because the enabling technologies, the network, the bandwidth, the computational servers, the power, that was not available. And in the
Yeah.
last decade or so, that has changed, and that is why there's been a lot of advancement in this field.
Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. I think right after your graduation, you worked as a software engineer. So yeah, do you want
Yes.
to like tell us about the experience? Like, how did you, I guess, find the job? Why did you choose to, I guess, do software engineering and all of that?
Uh,
How was
so,
the
uh, yeah. So I was doing, I mean, in engineering, I was pretty much interested in telecommunication. So I had a couple of offers in software development. But then I chose this particular job because that was software development in telecom sector, and at that time in 2007, 3G was coming in India, right?
Yeah.
Now we have 5G, but at that time 3G was getting launched, and in fact I did some bit of coding, and that was embedded coding, which actually those chips were part of those smartphones which were launched at that time, that enabled that speed in 3G. 2 Mbps download was the speed. So we used to test that. We used to write a code, check the download speed. So that was pretty interesting. So I was always interested in doing coding which had some practical implication. And that's
Yeah.
why I chose that job, right? Because I
That's-
could see the results of the code I was writing. I could see users able to download at a higher speed.
yeah.
It had,
Okay, yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense. Do you think everything you learned in college was applicable to your job, or do you think you learned everything you needed on the job itself? Because
See,
I feel like most people mismatch, right?
See, in my opinion, I feel that college, there's a huge gap between how industry works and what they teach in colleges, right?
Mhm.
But at the same time, I don't want to reduce or kind of you know say that colleges don't have impact, because I think what colleges do to you, I like good colleges, you get to interact with such diverse people, right? So in my batch, you get to interact with so many different people, their different mindset, and that's what your learning is.
Yeah.
Essentially, you need to learn to develop problem solving skills. It's not about learning a subject. I think subject you can learn from any other medium, from books and
Yeah.
everything, but I think going to a good institute, you get exposed to different opinions, different people, different subjects, and that's kind of develop you cognitively, your problem solving skills, and that becomes very relevant when you enter corporate world, because
Okay.
then you had to learn new things on the go.
I see. So colleges basically help you like, I guess adapt and be
Yeah,
open to
be
new
more flexible,
experiences.
learn fast, how to learn fast, all those things you kind of learn that in college.
Awesome. Okay. I think that's really cool. Yeah. And then I guess you also like transitioned to do an MBA. Do you want to talk to us about your MBA experience? Like like how do you think you grew the most doing this MBA? What are some skills that you can only gain if you do an MBA? Do you want to like talk
Okay.
about that? Yes.
I think that if I look back in my, I mean, it's been almost 16 years in corporate world.
Yeah.
I feel that that 1 year at Indian School of Business was the most transformative year of my life. Uh,
Wow.
I mean, in a sense that because when you do engineering, when I was doing engineering, I was exposed more to people from my domain, right? But
Yes.
when I went to ISB, there in an MBA batch, you get exposed to people from different walks of life. There are guys from finance, there are guys from supply chain, there are guys from different investment banking, and that
Yeah.
1 year is completely grueling. I mean, it's like
Yes.
16
Yeah.
hours a day for 1 year. You get to sleep
Oh.
like 4 hours, 5 hours a day at max. Um, and you
Yeah.
have to be very, very quick in everything you do. So that year kind of made me believe that if I'm able to go through this journey successfully, then I think that instills that confidence in you that you can do anything now. Such role. So that was again a learning. I learned a lot from my batchmates. I believe
Yes.
I was an average student there, to be honest with you. Most of the students were better than me, um, and
Yes.
I learned a lot from them. That was the, if you ask me, I think the only learning I had from that year is from my batchmates. They were all brilliant,
Wow.
far
Okay.
quicker than I was, and that was a humbling experience, to be honest.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. That makes so much sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess my next question is, um, why, okay, when do you think is like the right time to apply for an MBA, and who, like what kind of person has to, do you think should do an MBA versus like who should not do an MBA, or do you think everyone has to do an MBA? I don't know.
No, I don't see. I don't think. I mean, everyone has to do MBA, so it's a personal choice.
Yep.
Although I feel that, I mean, if you want to do it from a good college. There's some competitive college wherein you get to meet. I mean, the clear win in doing an MBA from good college is that you get to meet people who are better than you. and
Yes.
that's where you want to be in a room where you're not the smartest person, right?
Yes.
And that's where the value proposition comes from. So when I went to ISB, most of the people were smarter than me, and that's
Yep.
where I derive value from, because I got to learn so much from them. I mean,
Yeah.
I kept on surprising myself every day when I interacted with someone, and I thought,
Yeah.
hey, I mean, this guy is so good. Throughout the year,
Mm-hmm.
I felt I had that feeling. Now, when should you do your MBA? I think the sweet spot is one should spend 3-4 years in the industry after their graduation, and
Yeah.
then they should do MBA. I did pretty late. So in terms of monetary ROI, I would say in my case it was not that high. But if you want to have the best of all the worlds, wherein you have a good monetary return, as well as from the perspective of learning and knowledge, I would say 3-4 years of work X in the industry and then go for your MBA. But not all of the people, I mean, they have to do MBA. It's totally depend on your personal interest.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So after you did the MBA, you decided to join Shuttle as a senior product manager. Do you want to describe, like, first of all, what is a product manager? Like, what does a product manager do? And then secondly, describe like why you joined Shuttle and how was your experience there?
Okay, so from ISB, I had a couple of offers. One was more of an established company, and Shuttle was a startup in Delhi NCR, and I just wanted. I took that decision because I just wanted to join a startup and feel that environment of working in a startup, that hustle,
Yeah.
building up a company. So that was my rationale behind joining Shuttle. Product management, I believe, is more about being that bridge between your customers and the technology team, right? To
Yeah.
be able to understand customer problems at a fundamental level and then
Mm-hmm.
translating them into crystal clear technical requirements which engineering teams can execute and
Yeah.
deliver on, right? So you are the voice of customer for the engineering teams. So that's what product manager is. He is
Okay.
someone who kind of becomes the voice of customer inside the company. And at the same time, that person should be technical enough to talk to engineering team in their language, help
Oh,
them out. So it's a multifaceted role wherein you get to interact with engineers. You should be technical enough. You get to interact with sales team, marketing teams, customers. So that way you become kind of a center of everything which is happening in that organization. It's a high agency role. Uh, a lot. I mean, you don't get to you don't get any people to report to you, but then at the same time you should be able to positively influence people to get things done. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess my next question is a little more broad. So we all know that AI and ML is like evolving super rapidly. Um, and I guess just what's your opinion on it? First of all, do you think there's a bubble? Do you think there's too much hype? Like, I just want to like hear your opinion on it because you've seen this for long.
No, that's a great question. I mean, see, AI is the most loosely used word
Yeah,
of late. I
thanks.
mean, in my opinion, people need to understand. I mean, AI is a very broad term. It's an
Mhm.
umbrella under which many technologies exist. Like ML is a branch of AI. Similarly, generative AI is again a type of AI. But people don't understand that. I mean, they use AI ML interchangeably, which is wrong. Uh, and uh, and like, for example, if you look at blockchain, right? The day before ChatGPT was launched, if you actually analyze the LinkedIn post before that date, you'll find that there was so many posts about blockchain and metaverse. And
Yeah,
after the day ChatGPT was launched,
yeah.
those two terms have virtually disappeared from LinkedIn. Nobody's talking about them. Everybody's just talking about Gen AI, ChatGPT, and
Oh
all,
wow.
right?
Okay.
So now there's a hype around Gen AI, but I think it's a very good technology. It's a transformative technology. I agree. I've read a lot about it. However, I think industry is still figuring out how to deploy it at scale. That
Yes.
is still not there. I mean, there's a lot of research, there's a lot of use cases, but we still need to figure out how to deploy at scale and with sufficient data security. There are a lot of questions around data security,
Mhm.
hallucinations, ethical bias. Those are the topics which people don't talk about, right? So
Yeah.
big companies, established companies, for the companies where data security is highly important, right? Personal data security, data confidentiality. They are still a bit wary about usage of Gen AI. Uh, so yeah, I mean, this technology needs to evolve, and I think the real impact will come when people will start using Gen AI in combination with traditional AI techniques like decision sciences or traditional ML techniques. So when you
Yeah.
start combining Gen AI with those traditional AI ML techniques, then I think the real magic will happen. And I'm sure that at the pace which things are moving, that time will come soon. But I would agree, to a large extent there's a lot of hype, simply because now anyone can go to ChatGPT and say that, okay, write a LinkedIn post for me about neural network, and ChatGPT will write a very good post for you which you can post even though you don't know anything about it, but you still kind of write. Everybody is writing about AI these days,
Yeah, that's
so that's
true.
why hype is created.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess which industries do you think might be the biggest winners?
I think the customer service or the customer care part would be largely disrupted by Gen AI, in my opinion. Not per se the industry, I would say. I think it will have an impact across industries, right? But in terms of functions, I would say generative AI is a branch of AI which differentiates itself from other AIs, that it is able to create novel content, right? It can create textual content, it can create images and
Yes.
audios, right? And that's where, and it is able to create a content which is highly personalized, highly humanized. And that's where it will have an impact. While interacting with your customer, how will you be able to use Gen AI to create that hyper personalized experience for your end customers, right? How
Yes.
would you augment using Gen AI and create that personalized experience for your end customers, enhance their experience? And that's where I think that will get disrupted, and that has started to get disrupted. Many companies have started using Gen AI bots in their customer care departments.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you think, I guess, India would, I guess, benefit from AI, or even, I guess, be harmed by AI? Because I think you mentioned both. So yeah, I just want to share your opinion on like where India stands.
So you say India, right?
Yeah, just India. Yeah.
Okay. See, I think there are both sides to it. Like, so I was studying a company which is Access My India. They are building a platform in collaboration with Google, and their objective is to build a platform through which they can disseminate information about various government welfare schemes and subsidies uh, to people in the remotest villages, right? Who
Yeah.
are not able to get that information on time. They're not able to take benefit of those schemes and subsidies. So Gen AI is going to help there. So they are using Gen AI in their platform, wherein people can simply ask their queries through voice. So now Gen AI can recognize that voice in their dialect, in their language, and then create
Yes.
an personalized answer or personalized information. So, for example, somebody in the remote village might not know about a government medical insurance scheme, which
Yeah.
might be available to that person, but he's not aware. So he might simply, in his language, his dialect, can ask a query and then get an answer, guidance around it, which hospitals nearby are providing that facility. So so there are such initiatives happening in India, which are, through which people are going to get benefit through these technologies. But at the same time, I think there's a question around data security, right? Because when people interact through these platforms and applications, they tend to reveal a lot of private information, personal information, uh,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of ethical angle around Gen AI. Hallucination is an issue. How correct information it is providing. So all
Yeah.
those issues are the dark side of AI, I would say, which needs to be further researched, mitigated. So that's where I think a lot of research will happen. You will
Mhm.
have two streams of research. One will keep on applying Gen AI in newer areas, and you also need a parallel stream of people doing research on what are the negative impacts of or the unintended consequences of Gen AI and how to mitigate them.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess, yeah, just reflecting on, your entire journey. what advice would you give to young aspiring professionals in the AI and ML space?
I would say, see, these days it's very easy to write a code. I mean, coding is going to get commoditized, right? So, I mean, you can get code written by ChatGPT, Copilot. There are lots of tools, right? Uh, and for any of the algorithms, there is a function available in Python. But I think
Yeah.
what the advice which I would like to give young people is to get your fundamentals strong, right? If you have a strong fundamental understanding of how basic AI ML algorithm works, right? Then you are there, because then algorithms will keep on coming. Today there's ChatGPT, OpenAI, we have Gemini, we have Llama Index, and there's so many RAG technique. But then you will always have algorithms which will keep on changing. What will not change is the fundamental. So focus on fundamentals and build a strong problem solving mindset. So if you are fundamentally strong and if you have a good problem solving mindset, then I think you'll be able to grasp all these new algorithms. You'll be able to apply. Might not succeed at first, but then quickly fail, iterate, and improve. So have a strong
Mhm.
problem mindset, build a strong problem solving skills, and at the same time, if you want to grow in AI/ML field, focus on some mathematics, statistics, understand the fundamentals. If you understand the fundamentals, then you'll be able to appreciate those algorithms. What are the hyperparameters you want to tune? All those things which doesn't make sense to most of the people. But if you are good fundamentally, then it will make sense.
Okay, okay. And what resources would you recommend people um learn from in order to, get those fundamentals strong?
My
Um,
personal bias now, after I'm doing PhD, is to actually read through research papers. There are good blogs available, right? Medium, you can find a lot of good articles on Medium, or a lot of good YouTube channels are available to learn ML AI. But if you really want to understand the fundamentals, the perspective of the person who created that particular algorithm, I think then you should go to the research paper. There are typically references to these research papers in articles on Medium or any blog,
yeah,
but people don't click those links. You simply read the article and you shut down. But there is always a link to the original paper which created that algorithm, that research paper. My advice is to just go to that research paper and read out that research paper. You'll find a lot of good insights, and typically research paper give you a deeper understanding and the whole evolution up till that time. Then you will understand that what was the need to create that algorithm in the first place, what existed
yeah.
before, what led to it, what was the problem, what was the research gap.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. I think that's great advice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like reading research papers, because I feel like most people are like afraid of reading research papers because it's too dense. But yeah,
And that happened
that's
to me
like
when
this.
I started, right? So when I started my
Yeah.
PhD, in the first couple of months, it was very very difficult because I thought that every paper was 25-30 pages long. But slowly and gradually, you will start to understand how to quickly read a paper, which parts to skip, which parts to read, and
Yeah.
understand the paper quickly. And that's an art you will learn after 5-6 papers. Or you can also watch a couple of YouTube videos how to read papers in a structured manner and in a quick manner, right? But
Yeah.
and that's the art you develop. But then I still say that people should at least go to that research paper, at least look at the discussion section, look at the motivation part of that research paper. Like for example, the transformer architecture, the paper is name is attention is all you need. That's the title of the paper, where the transformer architecture was first introduced, which led to Gen AI ChatGPT. ChatGPT uses transformer architecture. So
Yeah.
most of the people don't know about that research paper, but I read the research paper just to understand the architecture of the transformer, what led to it, what are the integrities, what are the components of it, and now I feel confident about that. I understand because I have read the original paper.
Okay, yeah. And yeah, Amit, yeah, I also saw on your LinkedIn profile that you had a quote which says, if Henry Ford had asked people, what do you need, they would have asked for faster horses. But then, I guess, yeah, so helping customers solve business problems at a fundamental level using data technologies. I think you had this like quote on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
basically want to like explain those quotes, why you chose them,
Yeah.
all of
So see, when you look at a problem, and why I mentioned that quote is that typically whenever you encounter any problem, typically you just solve the problem at the surface level, right? So that quote essentially said that if someone else would have looked at that problem, they would have said that okay, let's breed faster horses, because the problem was slower horses. And
yeah,
right, but then Henry Ford looked at the same problem in a different manner. For him, the problem statement was how to enable people move from point A to point B at a faster speed. So
yeah,
it's the way you look at a problem. Someone might say the problem is slow horses. Henry Ford said
yeah,
the problem is no, the problem is how to enable people move from A to B at a faster pace. So he looked at the problem in a different way, and that is why he came up with a very tangential solution, which is a
yeah,
car. So in your day-to-day life also, it happens so many times when someone gives you a problem and you immediately jump to a solution, because
mm,
you listen to a problem and your immediate reaction is to give a solution. You don't bother going deep into the problem. So that's
yeah,
what my advice is, that when you look at the problem, if you spend 60-70% time researching on the problem itself, getting to the core of it, then the solution will present itself. The
yeah.
solution will become obvious. It is very important to spend some time with the problem and solve the right problem.
Okay, how do you know what the right problem is?
And that's, you will never know. But I think when you do enough research on the problem itself, when you go one layer down, then there will come a point and you'll say, aha. That aha moment will come and you will realize that, okay, this is the core problem which needs to be solved,
Mhm.
right? So there is no mathematical rule to say that, okay, now this is the problem, real problem. Some people say,
Yeah,
okay, 5 why analysis. Why? So 5 why is a framework, right? You
yeah.
keep on asking why 5 times.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks so much for joining us
Thank
on
you.
today's call. I mean, Amit. Yeah, hopefully, you enjoyed
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
on
I
this
thoroughly
podcast.
enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, yeah, and so yeah, I personally learned so much from you about AI and ML, and like you just like breaking down what it even means, and then like just walking us through, like your
Yeah.
whole career, and then just advice, and then like you're doing your PhD on the weekends and all of that. So
Yeah.
it's really inspiring to see all of this. And again, like you're so genuine and helpful, which
Yeah.
I think is also really good. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's stay
I
in
think we'll
touch.
go this.
And I wish you all the best, Naveen, and
Yes,
to
yeah,
your
thanks so much.
podcast. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Appreciate
good
it.